Hi, my name is Shawne Camp and I'm a stone sculptor. Today we'll be taking a tour of my studio. Welcome to my studio. This is where I spend 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, out here working on stone sculptures. So the process of stone sculpting begins with having a stone to work with. We've got onyx, we've got marble, we've got alabaster, we have Italian marble, Vermont marble, honeycomb calcite from Utah. Beautiful stone when it's done. It actually looks like a honeycomb and it's super cool. Translucent, it's yellow, orange, light shines through it. So we start with the stone. I get my stone from To Sculpt in Lawrence, Kansas. I've been working with him for years. He just loads up what I ask him for, and a semi shows up out in front of the house and delivers it, and we get it down here to the studio. Now, how do we get, like, say 2,000 pounds of stone from the driveway, which ends way over there, to here? Well, I have a pallet jack. So we'll use the pallet jack and some big sheets of plywood, and we basically just leapfrog the plywood and then slowly use the pallet jack to get the stone down to here, down to this pad. Once the stone's here, it's more manageable because I have this gantry crane, which is 4,000 pounds, and it's nice and light, aluminum. I can wheel it outside, I can have it inside, and I can start moving stone around and getting it put onto different things, like say these 2 pieces of marble from Italy, get them put onto little dollies. Once they're on there, I can move them all over the studio, make room, and I always set them on pieces of wood like this so that I can then run a strap, a lifting strap, underneath of it. So if I set it flat on, say, the dolly here, I'm in the same position as I was before, where it's just impossible to move. So I always keep the stones raised up. That way I can get up underneath them. So I get them onto dollies, or I keep them on the pallets, and when I'm ready to use them, I'll lift them up and get them onto a work stand like this. That's a homemade one right there. It's taken a beating over the years, but this is a professional sculpting stand. So every time you turn it, it's lowering or raising, but it also allows you to sit there and work and not have to move the sculpture around. You can just simply turn the table. So I get my stone, I get it up onto here, and I either have an idea in mind, or the stone says, hey, I want to be this. And I'm like, okay, let's make you that. And so I'll start working, roughing it out. Now, the tools that I use to sculpt is pretty basic. You have a bunch of hammers here that are different weights and shapes and all that. And that's, for swinging and all that. And you're hammering them onto a chisel. So we have a number of different chisels. These are tooth chisels. So these are both 4-tooth chisels, but they're wider or narrower than the other one. Here we have 3-tooth chisel. And they go on and on and on. Here we've got a flat chisel. Again, numbers of sizes. But the best chisel, I mean, you can do an entire sculpture with this chisel. These are the same, just different sizes. These are point chisels. Just very sharp. They're carbide, and they hold up really well, but as you can see, it's just a point. So you can do an entire sculpture just with a point chisel. It is the best chisel. If you only had to have one chisel, you got to get a point chisel. Now, what size you get, that's up to you, but this one's a big old point chisel. I don't use it very often, but it's kind of cool. Now we've got some more custom chisels. We've got round chisels, but 2 different sizes. We've got a bush chisel. It's a little bit dirty, but what happens is there's 9 teeth on here, and oh, this is a 12th tooth, excuse me, 12 teeth. It's basically like a meat tenderizer. So you hit the hammer on top, and that leaves it bruises the stone essentially, so it creates a really cool texture in the stone. Here we've got kind of a concave chisel. You can see it's a scoop chisel. Here we have different pitch chisels. So what would we use this for, these 2 different things, is to remove large amounts of stone. So you essentially, you set it on the edge, the corner of the stone, and then give it a whack, and a chunk will fly off, because you need to remove stone to get to the stone that you're going to actually use. And it's just a quick way of removing stone. Now we're down into pneumatic chisels. So these are all carbide. They're from Italy. They're nice to work with. So what happens here is we've got pneumatic air hammers, and we have 2 different sizes. I actually have 3. I'll show you the other one in just a moment. This is a larger air hammer from Couturi out of Italy. This one is a smaller air hammer from Shawne Holden. And so essentially you hook this end up to an air hose, which is attached to a compressor, and then you take your chisel, insert it, hold it, and then you do your sculpting. So it creates a vibration essentially, and it's much faster than using a hammer and chisel. I used to be fully for just hold, old-fashioned hammer, old-fashioned chisel. All right, and I was always kind of against, I don't know why, against pneumatic chisels, air hammers and chisels. But once I got a chance to try one day, I was like, oh my gosh, this thing's a life changer. This is a very small air hammer. This one's a Milani, excuse me, from Italy, and a very small air hose, but it just attaches directly to the air hose here, which then runs to that compressor there. So that's pretty cool, this tiny little thing. And yeah, I love air hammers now. I'm a big fan of them. They definitely make the process much faster. So we get the sculpture sculpted out using either grinders or whatever, and air hammers and chisels, air hammers and chisels. And then we want to start kind of getting some shape into it. So we've got different files and rifflers and rasps, and we'll sit there and it gets rid of all the chisel marks and stuff like that, and it starts getting it ready so that you can start sanding the sculpture. This particular sculpture that I'm working on now is Spanish Nero. It is a Spanish marble from an area of Spain. It's going to be black with white striping in there. Now, when I'm working on a sculpture, once I start getting kind of like the rough stuff off, you know, all the excess stone, I'll start drawing on the stone, you know, with crayons. And I'll be like, okay, a leg there, I want the shape there, I want a curve here, I want shoulders here. And so I draw all over it, And then obviously then you can figure out what you need to do, and that all comes off when you know, sculpt it or get rid of all the chisel marks and stuff like that with the rifflers and rasps. And so once we get all that done, and now that's smooth, that's where I want it to be. Say the sculpture was done and it's ready for final sanding. I'll take a container of water, large bucket, flat container of it, and submerge the sculpture into it, not submerge, but set it in there and wet sand it, starting typically at about 60 grit and working my way up to sometimes 5,000 grit, depends on what I'm doing. So I usually, well, I shouldn't even say usually, I always use sandbags when I'm sculpting because it helps absorb the shock from the hammer, whether it be a hand hammer or pneumatic hammer. It absorbs the shock so that it helps prevent it from breaking, but also it keeps the stone more stable. You're able to, you know, kind of get it wedged into the sand. I use cat litter most of the time, non-scented cat litter in my sandbags because they're lighter, and it's really easy to just change out the cat litter or add more or take some out, because sometimes I want the bags to be really kind of empty so that they're more pliable, and sometimes I want them to be full so that they're just a harder pack. So I mentioned grinder. Here is one of my grinders here. This is a Bosch, like a Bosch, they say. Super fast. I mean, obviously it, you know, becomes a little more, yeah, I guess dangerous when you're using power tools like that. But so you just always have to be aware. Number one, it can injure you. Number two, it removes a lot more stone a lot faster than a hammer and chisel. So you got to make sure you know what you want to remove before touching this to the stone, because once it's gone, it is gone. It's not like clay where we can add more back. So we have a number of different types of discs that we can attach to it. This is a kind of a curved or cup disc, very abrasive. And we've got a flat one. This is a black cat. This will cut, this will grind. I have different sizes of these as well. So super easy to interchange, but again, it's something that you want to make sure you know what you're removing before you start putting that tool to the stone. I always do all my cutting and grinding outside. I've got a tent canopy thing set up to protect me from the sun, rain, whatever. I don't leave it up all the time just because it doesn't like the weight of snow and heavy winds, but I do have sandbags on it so it doesn't end up at my neighbor's house. But I'll sit under here. I'll wheel that table that you saw out here, have it set up. I've got a mat, just kind of, we stand all day on concrete, just makes it more comfortable. And I'll do all my work out here. I'll run my extension cords out here. I'll shut this garage door just to keep the dust out. And then in the summer when it's hot out here, I'll run a big industrial fan out here, and it does a couple things. It keeps me cooler, and it also blows all the dust like away. You know, over there we don't have anybody living over there, so it blows all the dust away over there. But I keep most of my stone inside. There is some stone that, you know, I mean, some of this can stay outside forever, but I just like the fact that it's in here, so I can look at it. You know, it's fun. We've got another work tool chest thing over here. I do some work with turquoise, so I will get pieces of different turquoise and stuff and make them into little things with the different tools. So for finer details, I have a couple of these Dremels. This one here, this is a handheld Dremel, so it doesn't have any flexible shaft coming off of it, and it's variable speed, and you can just change out different bits and stuff, but it really allows you to get in and do your details, remove stone, add all the details. I'll I'll show you the bits in just a moment. This is the same Dremel, a Dremel 4000. This one, however, has a flexible shaft on it, which is, it's good. I don't use it as often, I don't think, as I use this one right here, because I have this here. This is the Fordham, the TX series. This is the motor, and it spins this deal inside, and here's your handheld piece, and it's pretty ergonomic. I like it. I love this tool. I had one a long time ago, but I don't know. I think I sold it at a garage sale when I lived in California because I couldn't sculpt there where we live. So I was like, whatever, get some money for it. You can change the bits out. Right now, this is a little diamond ball in here. It's great for doing details and stuff. I don't have the foot pedal hooked up right now, but there's a foot pedal. It acts like a gas pedal, and you're able to, see if I can get it on the camera here, actuate it like a gas pedal. And the further down you push on the pedal, the faster this will spin, and it's got a lot of torque, so I love this tool. But here are some of the different bits that you can attach, and they get tiny. I mean, look how tiny that is. And there's one that's even smaller than that. That is so small. But I use them, and they're at all different shapes and sizes. And then we have these. Now these things here, they remove a lot of stone. These attach to a die grinder, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, and they wear down. So like this was the same size. This was the same size as this, and now it's kind of worn down. That's just what happens, but it's great for getting into areas like, say like this area here. If you can see that, I'll connect this to the die grinder and then get in there and move it around, and it helps shape it, remove the stone, smooth out any chisel marks. But lots of different shapes, sizes, just depends on what you want to do, even down to small. Of course, I got my Buc-ee's mints out here. I love Buc-ee's. Going there next week. Going to Tennessee for a day or two, and then North Carolina. This is a die grinder. I've had this thing for years. I think it might be on its last leg. I'm not sure, but it's still going, so I'm gonna just keep on rocking and rolling with it. But it has a tool already attached in there, or a grinder already attached in there, but it's variable speed, so it goes fast, slow, medium, whatever you want it to do. I think that's about it in terms of tools and how I get started, but I'll be putting out some more videos of me like actually working on a sculpture. It'll probably be more like a time-lapse type sculpture where you can see the process. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for tuning in. Take care.